5. AD couldn't go. LeBron dropped 26. Melo 20. Russell Westbrook added 12. The Lakers have now lost 10 of their last 13. They're below 500 and 9th in the West. King James, talk to me.
Until you stump me out, cut my head off, bury me 12 feet under, then I got a chance. So that's my confidence. As long as we got more games to play, we still have a chance. You know, I hate losing. I feel like poop right now. But tomorrow's a new day, and I'm going to be prepared and ready for the Clippers on Thursday. But that's my mindset. That's just who I am.
Stephen A.
Yeah.
Was it a mistake for LeBron to come to L.A.?
No, I don't think it was a mistake at all. Obviously, for personal reasons, that's definitely a given because of what Tinseltown offers somebody the magnitude of LeBron James. But I would remind everybody, this is a man that arrived in L.A. and delivered the championship, albeit in the bubble. Some people will sit up there and say, you know what, that's not the same. I'll tell you what, might have been harder. Not playing in front of crowds, not being enthused, watching the world be ravaged by COVID-19, having to live in a bubble away from your family and friends and all of this other stuff, not dealing with a level of normalcy that you're accustomed to. One could make the argument that that was a more difficult championship to capture than anything. And LeBron James and Anthony Davis delivered, and they won the championship. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm not going to tell you that he made a mistake by going to Los Angeles. Where LeBron made the mistake was that he allowed his basketball acumen to be compromised by emotion. Russell Westbrook, this is not to knock him and act like the brother can't play. Russell Westbrook can still play. That just might not have been the ideal landing spot for him, particularly considering the other opportunities that were available for the Lakers to have players pair with LeBron James. LeBron James leaned on that relationship with Russell Westbrook, bought in to Russell Westbrook wanting to be there, compelled the Lakers organization to make that happen. And that is a large reason as to why the Lakers are in the position that they're in now, combined with the obvious durability issues involving Anthony Davis, which obviously LeBron James is also largely responsible for getting to L.A. So he owns the problem that exists now, but it doesn't mean that he should regret having gone to L.A. because there is a championship that has come from his arrival in Tinseltown.
Okay. I agree with you a little bit, but overall I say no. Number one, you don't go to L.A. and win one championship. You got to go to L.A. to win more than one championship. He also won a championship off a 5-month layoff in Orlando, where it was a long way, 3,000 in October, when the Dodgers were winning a World Series. That's a long way away from Figueroa Street. That's the first thing. First year they didn't make the playoffs, they got hurt. Last year they lost. They got murdered by the Suns in 6 games. I know Davis was hurt, but they lost. And this year they're not making the playoffs. When you're talking about L.A. history, you're talking West, you're talking Baylor, you're talking Kobe, you're talking Magic, and you're talking Kareem. He is never going to be on that level. He's a Cleveland Cavalier. The problem that LeBron has from a standpoint of legacy is who's his team? All the great players in the history of the NBA, maybe the exception of Wilt, they got a team. Russell's a Celtic. Bird's a Celtic. Elgin Baylor's a Laker. West is a Laker. Kobe's a Laker. Jordan is a Bull. Who's LeBron's team? He played for the Heat. He's not a Heat. He's a Cavalier. And to leave Cleveland to run to L.A. and win one title after a 5-month gap, to do it in Orlando and then the other 3 years be a disaster, that's not Hollywood. That's not good. They're not making the playoffs this year. Teams are mad. Now, listen, is it his fault? No. I mean, we all know how great he is. But he is not winning a championship this year. And let's ask you it this way. Stevie, let's ask you it this way. If he retired right now, are they building a statue with LeBron?
No, they're not.
Right near Staples Center? They are not.
No, they're not. But wait a minute. But wait a minute, because, again, you brought up history. Listen, you don't go there to win one title. You go up there to win multiple titles. Respectfully, profound respect. I must ask this question to the noted historian that is Mad Dog Russo. And when I say the utmost respect, I'm talking about who I'm about to ask you about. How many titles did Elgin Baylor have?
0.
How many titles did Jerry West have?
1.
Thank you. What do you mean multiple? There are great Lakers. There are great Lakers who have had one title. How many titles did Wilt Chamberlain have as a Laker?
1.
Thank you very much. How many titles does LeBron James have as a Laker?
1.
Oh, so now LeBron James, who's still playing, averaging 29 a game, looking like an MVP if his team was better, has as many titles as Wilt, as Jerry, and one more than Elgin Baylor. Now, I'm not saying that warrants him being a statue erected outside a Crypto.com arena. I almost hate saying it now instead of the Staples Center. Yeah. I understand that it doesn't warrant a title. But you know what I'd also add to this? Do you know who else has a title outside of the Staples Center? Do you know who?
Statue?
Oscar De La Hoya.
Which is a joke.
Oscar De La Hoya. So in other words, what I'm trying to say to you, you can say what you want about it being a joke or whatever, and I love Oscar De La Hoya. My point to you is that, are you sure ain't no statue? When we talk about LeBron James, yeah, he's a Cleveland Cavalier because he played there 11 years. How many titles did he win in Cleveland? 1. Now, he erased it half a century where they had nothing going on, but he did that. But then you also, he was in Miami. How many titles did he bring to Miami? That would be 2. How many titles did Dwayne Wade bring to Miami before LeBron got there?
1.
How many times? Exactly. So what I'm trying to say to you is this brother going to get his jersey retired in 3 arenas because you can retire LeBron James' jersey in L.A. You can retire you damn sure better do it in Miami. You could do it in Cleveland. So, he ain't going to have a statue, but excuse me, they'll have a statue for him in Cleveland. If that's what they want to do. And you know what? And if they put one in Miami, nobody would throw any shade on that with what he brought to it. So let's pump the brakes a little bit, particularly when you bring into account he's only got 1 title. I know plenty of great Lakers that didn't have any great titles, and one who's the silhouette that only had 1.
He was in the finals every year, Jerry West.
So what?
He got there in 60. He's the logo. He was the MVP of a loss in the finals.
I'm
he was
not
there for 13, 14 years. LeBron's been there for 4 years. It's not that you can't compare LeBron to West. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Listen, don't give me no fairness. It ain't about fair, it's about facts. That's what I'm giving you, facts. He's got as many championships as Jerry West. And this is my point. You bring up the amount of times that he was in the finals every year. You know what, Doggy? You're a big baseball guy, man. You love your San Francisco Giants. You hate on the Yankees for obvious reasons, jealousy. It's okay. But let me ask you this question. How many titles did the Braves have? I know they're the reigning defending World Series champions, but prior to last year, how many times were the Braves in the championship round and won the World Series?
Millions of times.
All right. So did you talk about them? We didn't really talk about them because guess what? They didn't close the deal. With no disrespect whatsoever to the silhouette, but I'm not interested in hearing you talk about how many times he was in the finals. If you only got 1 chip, you only got 1 chip. And LeBron has that, and just like Jerry West has it. Great. Love Jerry West. Icon. But come on now. LeBron James deserves respect for what he has accomplished with the Los Angeles Lakers, particularly considering how he's playing right now. There's no doubt about it.
That was not the point. The question was, did he make a mistake? You're right. We know how great he is. He won a title. But did he make a mistake? He should have stayed in Cleveland.
Why?
Because he's a Cavalier. He bought an Akron, won a championship. Should have stayed in Cleveland.
Please. You deserve the right to live with. You got to be crazy. Why stay by Lake Erie when you could be in Hollywood? What's the problem?
Okay.
And how do you?
It's ridiculous.
Let's talk about this season now. Let's talk about this season, gentlemen. So the Lakers lost 6 of their last 7. We know this. They're in the 9th spot. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Stephen A., are the Lakers missing the play-in?
They're not missing the play-in. They'll get in the play-in tournament, no doubt about it. But they look like trash right now. The Lakers look horrible. Frank Vogel's probably going to lose his job. It's not his fault. We know he can coach. The problem is when you watch the Lakers, even though they were far more competitive last night than they were against the New Orleans Pelicans the other night, you just see too many nuggets of proof of how they've tuned Frank Vogel out. If you really, really want to think about it, let me tell you what's making the Lakers sick and what should be said about the Lakers that should make Laker Nation sick. And I'm here in L.A. right across the street. I'm telling you, they should be sick to their stomach, Doggy. Ty Lue, some would say, is the best coach in basketball.